Hello, welcome to Raider Reach. This is the podcast where we reach out to our school community and beyond to share the inspiring story of our Raiders. From the classrooms to the extracurriculars, we'll explore the people, events, and the moments that make our district unique. Thanks for joining us today. Let's dive in and tell our Raider story. My name is Meagan Hogg, and I'm the District Director of Communication and Community Partnerships, and I am truly honored to be the moderator of Raider Reach, which is our audio podcast for the district. And today we have some phenomenal educators in here with some really awesome backgrounds and things that they're doing every day to help our students succeed. And they are our 504 coordinators. If you don't know what that means, we're going to get into that today. When we're finished at the end of the day, at the end of this podcast today, you're going to know what that is and more probably. So, want to welcome Kayla Wilson. Hey, Kayla.
Hi.
And Ashley Nicholson. Hey, Ashley.
Hey.
And then Jennifer Rinando.
Hey.
Welcome back.
Thank
Kayla
you.
and Jennifer have been here before. Kayla, I'll just tell you, she can tell you a little bit about herself in a little bit, but Kayla is our early childhood school counselor. So she's been here with the counselors before because I've had all the counselors on. And then Jennifer has also been here with the assistant principals because she's an assistant principal at the middle school. But they also wear another hat, and that's 504 coordinator at their campus. Ashley's the 504 coordinator. She is at two campuses. She is at primary school and intermediate, right?
Yes.
And then we also have one at the high school, and she was unable to be here today. She's out of town, but that is Miss Tara Byers. So shout out to Tara, and she couldn't be here today, but I did want to make sure we mention her and whatever they're saying that goes along with what she does every day as well. So if you're a high school parent and you need to get some more information about that, Tara Byers is your girl, and you can contact her. But before we get started on that, let's learn a little bit about our guest today. So first, let's have Kayla tell us a little bit about your educational journey.
Yes, so I started off as a teacher. I always knew I wanted to be a teacher ever since I was a little girl. So I got my degree from SFA, started teaching, and I taught for 4 years. And in the meantime of that, I realized that I really loved helping kids grow socially and emotionally and resolving conflict and being there during their crisis times. So that prompted me to get my master's in school counseling. So I, like I said, taught for 4 years, taught 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade, and then became a school counselor. I think this is year 8 of that already? For me. I think so. I think 7 in Lumberton and 8 overall, as school counseling. So that's my journey. Awesome. I think I'm on year 11. Is that? I don't know if that maths, but I think I'm on year 11 or 12. I don't know.
Well, Kayla is also an alumni, and
yes,
I know Kayla was Raider Eye captain.
Woohoo!
Her senior year.
Yes.
So we'll get her to do the officer strut later.
Oh, that'd be a sight.
You probably can still remember it.
I
Maybe
do.
not do the...
Yeah, no jump splits, please.
No jump splits. And then also Kayla taught in Lumberton when you were teaching as well. So
yes.
That's important as well. All right, well, that's awesome. So we'll switch over here to Ashley. Ashley, you're up. Tell us a quick version of your educational journey.
So, similar to Kayla, I knew, when I grew up I wanted to be a teacher. So, I got that degree from Lamar, taught math, 1 year in Jasper, then came to Lumberton and did remedial math, and then RTI when that
program started.
Yes. And then I went back to Lamar for my master's in school counseling, graduated in 2013, and then I added the hats of Section 504 and testing coordinator. Eventually left the middle school campus and went to primary campus, and then added intermediate campus, and long story short, I'm the 504 coordinator for grades 1 through 5.
Okay, awesome. And because when you went to primary, you did do testing still for 1 year there, or a couple of years maybe.
Yeah, I did.
When they still had 3rd grade.
Yes.
And then now, Lindsay Bass just does the testing at intermediate. There's no testing at primary, so you're 504 at both.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. And y'all are both from Mid-County, right?
Yes, we both graduated from Port Neches.
You the same year?
Oh, no, ma'am. I'm just a little bit older.
Not
just
much.
a few years. Not much. I was 98, and you were what? 02?
01.
01.
Oh, well, she's making you younger than you are, see?
I know.
Nice
I'll
friend.
take it.
Did y'all know each other?
Mhm.
Oh, look at that. Y'all
Well,
roaming the
at that
halls at
point-
P&G.
And then we reconnected at Lumberton Middle School.
Oh,
and
yeah. That's really where you
when-
got to know each other.
Yes.
Yes, and
Yes.
we developed our friendship.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so Jennifer, leads us to you. Tell us a little bit
All
about you.
right. Well, that's same for me. I have always loved children, and I grew up around educators within my family, so that was a goal of mine to become a teacher. I'm in my 24th year in education, and I feel like I've had a variety of roles throughout my time at Lumberton Middle School. I taught 3 years for Terrell Elementary and Port Arthur ISD, and then I have moved to the middle school, and I've been there ever since. I started out teaching reading, then reading language arts. I became a reading interventionist, then the dyslexia interventionist. And during that time period, I decided to go back and get my master's in educational leadership. I also became the Section 504 coordinator, and then I had the honor of becoming the middle school assistant principal. So
Awesome.
now I have dual roles, and I'm still able to help children and support children, which I absolutely love that.
Good. Yeah, and it's a lot of different plates that y'all are spinning every day. And so sometimes it's hard to keep them all going.
Yeah.
It's balanced and whatever, and but never boring. Is that right?
Never.
No, ma'am. I feel like our days
No, ma'am.
sometimes go by within minutes.
Yes.
It's like the day is over.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did that happen? I didn't get everything done I needed to get done. Yeah. I get that. So, okay, well, awesome. Well, you can tell here in this room we have lots of experience and lots of different backgrounds. And I think that's something that's so cool about the people we have that are working with our students under Section 504. So let's talk about that. What is Section 504? A lot of people may have heard about it and they may know it's just numbers. They don't really know what is the 504 and why is it that. But can anybody here give a little history? This is like a law class now.
Yeah.
Where did Section 504 come from?
Sure.
Okay, so it comes from Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act back in the 70s.
Okay.
So it's just a section of that law that applies to public school. So it's closely related to the ADA or Americans with Disabilities Act, and just any individual with a disability that kind of creates a barrier to their access to education. That law protects them.
Okay. So we've talked on this podcast a lot to different groups of people who are all in the supportive role, which I would say y'all are definitely in that role too. So there's several different umbrellas, I guess. And there's the special education umbrella, which is protected by IDEA and law, those kind of federal laws as well. And then there's MTSS, which I just had all the MTSS people on. And that's our RTI programs, intervention programs. And so you guys are Section 504, which is a little bit different. And but they all are under the special programs umbrella, right?
Yes.
So what makes 504 different than MTSS or SPED?
I can talk about that. MTSS and 504 are still both considered general education services, so that's what separates them from special education. Is 504, you can have a 504 plan, you're still considered a general education student.
Okay.
You also have your individual accommodation plan in place. So totally different, like qualification methods and everything from special education. Special education is more of like specially designed instruction where you might be modifying things, and 504 is where we are accommodating, but we're not modifying the expectations or the curriculum.
And I always think of it as we're adding to adding supports to students, so they have equal opportunity to receive their education. We're removing any barriers they may carry, so they have opportunity to be successful in the classroom.
Awesome. And I think that was a really great way you explained it, Kayla. I think it's also important to know that sometimes a student may start out in MTSS and then after data is taken and they may go from like a tier 1 MTSS, which is general population, every student's tier 1 instruction, and then they go to tier 2, then tier 3 maybe, and while we're trying to figure out where the best place is that can meet their needs, they may get into the 504 program if they qualify based on those qualifications, or they could go to special education. And sometimes y'all have meetings where you have a student that goes from 504 to special education and then vice versa, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like once you're one, you're always that, and you can't ever change or whatever.
No.
It's very
Right.
fluid it's
Yes.
case by case.
And
Absolutely.
one thing I love about Section 504, but really within other programs such as special education, it's always led by data and a committee decision. So we may suggest things, but it's open opportunity for all of us to discuss, all the committee members, and then from there we can plan what is best for that student.
Okay, yeah, awesome. Okay, so what are some misconceptions that you think people have about 504 services? Do you think that they think that's a label that is, it may be a label that is labeling their student as incapable?
Yeah,
or,
I would say some misconceptions I've run into, which I get the pleasure of kind of starting
Introducing
these,
it,
yeah,
yeah.
introducing it. And so, especially for parents that maybe like this is their first experience with any kind of special programs, it's their first child through public school. Sometimes we tend to think of things like how they were when we were in school, and a lot has changed. And so I do enjoy those moments where I get to like communicate with parents and explain the differences in things. But I will say one misconception that I've run into sometimes is that some people think 504 is exclusionary, where like it excludes you from things like, oh, now they can't be GT or
Okay.
now they can't take AP classes. And so that's not the case with 504. I mean, I've had students in kindergarten who have qualified for GT, but they also have a 504 plan.
Right.
So it's not exclusionary. It doesn't mean that doors are closed for you later on down the road.
And you might have said this, you might want to say this, Jennifer, but I think it also is a misconception that that 504 is only about learning difficulties.
Correct.
It might be a
Right.
medical need
Mm-hmm.
or something else. Yeah. So
Absolutely. There's all different types of qualifications, and we see sometimes just different things being on a secondary campus. And I know I'm speaking for Tara as well, but in the upper grade levels, there's more students that deal with maybe social or emotional disabilities with like anxiety, and so we can help and provide ways to cope on campus and different accommodations to support our students. So we do see a variety of eligibilities in the secondary level.
Okay.
And sometimes are not clear in the elementary level because
Yeah.
students are dealing
They
with
just
more stress or more, I guess, goals that they have set for themselves.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And I know that as a parent who may be listening today, they may be thinking that they've heard some things about 504 and they want to ask some questions about maybe something that their doctor may have said, hey, suggested this about their kids in school. I just want to say, as a parent myself, I have 3 children in public school, and 2 of my kids are Section 504 students. One of them is because of a food allergy, which at first I said, y'all don't have to do that. You don't have to do a whole 504 plan for a food allergy. He can manage it himself. It's not like a major one where you see it a lot. It's shellfish. So it's not like a dairy or gluten or something like that, He doesn't even like shellfish. So he's not going to probably eat it. But whenever he was in 2nd grade and got diagnosed with it at the primary school, the 504 coordinator was like, no, it's okay. And I just, as an educator, was like, that's a lot more work on y'all. Please don't worry about it. It's fine. And they're like, no, we would rather have this in place to help him in case one day it does develop into something more. And I do appreciate it because it did have connections with asthma, and then now he has an inhaler that he has to carry with him all the time. So then we already had that process there, and it just is part of his medical plan.
Right.
And so it's nothing that's ever kept him from taking advanced classes or participating in athletics or anything like that, testing in weird situations or anything like that. We still have a 504 meeting, and my other child actually is a high school student, and this year, as a 10th grader, he became a 504 student and that was also awkward for me because I didn't want to add work on anybody, and so I just want to say, encouraging parents, it's never too late. If you feel like there's something that you want to ask questions about, please at least ask and see what options there are for supporting your kids, especially if the teachers are giving you feedback from what's going on in the classroom, and they're seeing things that you might want to bring up to your pediatrician.
Yes, and just to kind of add to what you're sharing, there's also plans where students may have an eligibility, but not that they've grown out of it. You will always have that eligibility, but you might just need to be on monitor. So therefore, we don't have to add accommodations, but this informs all of your teachers.
Yeah.
And it's shared with all the stakeholders for that student. And so therefore, everyone is aware and they know. So if your child may have a bad day or something that seems to be pretty consistent, well, it's easy to come back together. We can have a Section 504 meeting and we can meet to determine what would be our next best step for your child.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we talked about some of the differences between 504 and MTSS and special education. How does someone go about determining if their child qualifies or a student qualifies for a 504 plan?
I'll speak to that because kind of the piggyback on the last one, the word disability is, kind of needs to be defined, and that is a common misconception among all stakeholders,
Right.
parents, students, teachers. It sounds like such a strong word, and it's scary, but the definition of disability under Section 504 is very broad. The eligibility is very broad. So all it has to do is impact a major life activity. So that major life activity, in your son's case, eating, So that's basically kind of what drives eligibility is. Does it impact a major life activity, and is it significant,
Right.
compared to peers that don't have that disability?
Okay, that's good. I like that. So you see students from all across the board, from medical. Like, what are some examples? Like we talked about food allergies.
I mean, diabetes.
Okay.
We've had like students that have like swelling, like have like previous swelling of the brain that may
Okay.
like affect
Are
just
they-
like or like gastro issues. I mean, just any kind of really medical diagnosis.
Hearing, vision.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, mobility issues.
Yes.
If they, maybe they have a reduced length of a limb, or maybe they,
I taught a student one time, actually my first year teaching, and I had to learn all these things. I didn't even student teach, but he had a 504 plan because he had childhood cancer and had gone through a lot of radiation when he was young. And so his 504 plan was addressing that because the treatments he received when he was young, it had affected his maturity level as he got older. So it's like you said, Ashley, anything that can kind of be a barrier to helping them succeed. So
Yeah, and sometimes you have a medical condition that like maybe you have to take a medication for. Well, that medication gives you something that you need an accommodation for at school. Like maybe you have to have sun protection because of a medication that you take for, So there's lots of different kind of things that can go with that as far as like your accommodation, your major life activity, and your diagnosis.
Are there qualifications that are academic based?
Yes, dyslexia.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, they have. And then sometimes if a student, and it can either be that they have come to us with an outside evaluation, or we may complete the evaluation through IDEA, and sometimes specially designed instruction is not what the student needs, but they may have a mouth calculation weakness. So then that does give them a qualification or an eligibility for Section 504, and that can kind of drop the meeting and initiate the process
Okay.
for that program. So that can also be a wide variety.
So a good place to start would be a pediatrician. They're going to be able to help you. Do you have to have that documentation to start that process?
We just have to have, so the committee forms, which includes, it's a group of people who are knowledgeable about the student, the data, and the placement options.
So a lot of times it might be the classroom teacher.
Yeah, sometimes, it's just the teacher, me, and a parent. It doesn't have to be big.
Yeah.
That committee determines what information they need to make the decision.
Okay.
So obviously, a physician's note saying that the child has a peanut allergy, we all agree we don't need anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there could be a physician note that says child has XYZ learning disability.
Or attention deficit disorder.
Right.
Whatever deficit disorder.
And that's not, sometimes that committee might say, well, that's not enough. Let's look at the data. Does it impact them at school? What does it look like And parent input is important. Does it
Okay.
impact them at home?
Right.
We see a lot of students who are high achieving straight A students with a diagnosis, and it doesn't look like it impacts them at school. They hold it together at school, but at home,
Yeah.
life is rough.
Yeah.
And so while the non-disabled student is coming home and just living life and relaxing and getting their homework done, the disabled student might be working really hard and they don't get that rest and that leisure time. So that's a difference.
And that's something that the committee has to take into account is the mitigating factors. So if like a child has ADHD and they're taking medication and it's very well managed through medication, that doesn't necessarily mean they don't need the 504 plan, because in the event that they didn't have that medication, they would. And so those are mitigating factors that we have to take into account when we're making determinations.
All right. So when you have a referral, y'all kind of talked about that in implementation. You have the meeting, and then what happens after the meeting? Let's say the committee gets together and they discuss, and everybody agrees that the 504 plan would be great. What then happens?
So at the meeting, we would build the 504 plan, and once it is complete, we are always going to share with parents. We share with all stakeholders for that student, and at that point, once the teacher receives it, it will be in place, and so those accommodations will begin. Then as 504 coordinators, we monitor the students, we monitor their success, we'll do grade checks, we're just going to check in on them as far as grades, discipline, interactions with their peers and other teachers. And if things are good, we do have annual meetings for every student, so we wouldn't meet again until the following school year. Sometimes parents reach out to us, or teachers may address the situation with us, and that does allow for us to have another meeting or just even a quick review meeting to support the students.
So you're talking about that collaboration with the teachers. That's really important, because the teacher has a good picture at what's going on in the classroom and with other students their age in a learning environment, and sometimes that's different from home. And so it's always good as a parent to hear how that's going. And I personally enjoy the 504 meetings, because it's a chance for me to hear from a teacher's perspective, because teachers, that's part of the collaborative process. Every year the teachers are filling out these forms, giving you feedback before your annual meetings, right?
Right.
And they're letting you know how is the student doing in your class. And then so it's a really good way for the parent to see how are they matching up with peers, and are the supports that we have in place for them helping.
Yes, and one thing I want to kind of mention here or emphasize is sometimes when we do that data checks on the student and we see that their grades are successful, there's not a discipline issue or a repetitive discipline concern or anything like that, we may see our students as being successful. But really, like what Ashley was mentioning, they're going home and they do share their struggles with their parents and things like that. So it's always very welcoming to have input and feedback, so we can make the needed adjustments, because sometimes with our data, we don't see the internal problems.
Right. And what y'all are doing also every day is following up with those teachers to make sure that they don't have questions about how to implement those accommodations, and that they're following the accommodations with fidelity in the classroom. And what does it look like in their classroom, in their learning setting, right?
Yes.
So before we take a little break, let's talk about a few examples of accommodations that you see that are very common with a student with Section 504. I mean, I know there's a lot of different qualifying conditions. It just depends on what's
and that's the
different for
beauty of
every
the 504 plan, is that it's meant to be reflective for
It's
each individualized
individualized,
student. And so really, I mean, an accommodation that works great for this student might be completely meaningless to another student, you know. And so we really do, like, that's part of the committee's job, is to really look at the data and hear from the teacher about, well, this works great for this student, or they respond when I do this. And so we're really tailoring the accommodations to help the student. A lot, I would say, like, you know, that I see at my level, a lot of eligibility that I see is related to like attention or medical things. That's pretty much where we're at, is attention or medical things. And so we have a lot of like students that may need to sit closer to instruction to help minimize
Not necessarily
distractions.
in front or the back.
Yeah, instruction where
on
yes.
where
So
is
some
best for their kids.
some kids need to be in the back because they need to have the option of flexible seating, and they need to be able to move and not distract everyone else around them. Some kids
That would distract them seeing all the kids
Yes.
in front of them. Yes.
Some kids need to be like at the front of the carpet. Whenever the class goes to the carpet, they need to be at the front every single time, because they'll get distracted if they're in the back. So I see a lot of that, not necessarily pinpointing one accommodation, but accommodations that address helping kids focus and pay attention.
Yeah.
I think a big one, a hot topic, is extra time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
True.
Because that can, such a large variety of disabilities can need extra time, and that can look different. It could mean that you just have, 50% extra time, so many extra minutes to complete a test. It could be an extended due date. Maybe the child had homework, and like I was saying earlier, what goes on at home is where the disability really shows. So homework wasn't possible because the child came home and crashed and just rested all night, and so then maybe they would get a little extra time during that school day to finish something, and that is one that students can use on college entrance exams and take with them to university level. So that's why I call it a hot topic. You know, you have to be careful with it because sometimes it exacerbates the issue, but that's definitely a big
And a lot of
one.
parents, some parents may be tentative to want to give that because they're trying to teach their kids how to manage their time.
Absolutely.
And so, like for me, myself, my child has that, but I'm very clear on we're not going to use this as a crutch. This is only when you need it in this class, this subject for whatever a test or
And
something.
you've used your time wisely.
Yes.
I do like to say, sorry, Jennifer, I like to specify how much,
Okay.
really
Yeah.
specific, okay? So, like, my big one is to start with 50% extra time. That's just what research says is, students shouldn't need more than that. And it's my opinion that if a student still isn't finishing after 50%, there's a bigger issue.
Yeah.
And if we continue to extend that time, then we're just putting a Band-Aid on
Okay.
something
Mhm.
else that's probably going on.
Yeah, that's good.
And for example, students with dyslexia or, reading disabilities, they may always read a little bit slower. Now their fluency may be, they're just not quite, and it takes them a little while to read, then they may reread. So they're also reading and processing and building those comprehension skills. Well, you've got to think about that student when they're taking, for example, maybe a STAR test or a benchmark test. They may take double the amount of time to read those passages, and they deserve the time to process and think through it. So therefore, I have noticed in the secondary level, the one extra day kind of helps the students so they can make those arrangements to attend tutorials the next day. A lot of that stuff doesn't even go home for homework because it's assessments. And I've even noticed on the high school level, like math and the word problems are getting kind of lengthier. There's so many steps in the upper levels. They need the time to process. So a student that may not have ever really utilized the extra time, it becomes a huge need in the secondary level.
What about auditory testing?
Oral testing.
Oral
Oral
testing.
tech. Yeah,
That's a big one.
it's a common one as well.
Where they can
and that-
listen to being read aloud to them.
Yes, and so that can, like for example, sometimes students may not have reading disabilities, but with data we do see a benefit because if they're
Attention
distracted
issues, yeah.
very easily, that helps them to focus.
Yeah. Okay.
And to keep the headphones to, drown out noise, but also they're hearing and seeing it. So their learning styles are being met with auditory and visual, and that's helpful.
And at my level, everything is orally administered.
Okay.
So that's not an accommodation that we use. But we use, along the same lines of that, is breaking an assignment into smaller chunks. And so sometimes, a student will need their assignment chunked because we really, kindergarten, second semester, start doing more paper pencil things, and a lot of it is still read aloud. But some of those students definitely need, we'll fold the paper in half so they can only see the top half, like half of the paper. at one time, and then like maybe that pairs great with frequent breaks because maybe they do like the first half of the paper, get a quick like water break or bathroom break, and then come back and do the second half. Or, you know, like drawing a line, like breaking it up, like with a highlighter, work to this line, then check in with me, work to this line, then check in with me. And so that's kind of one that we see pretty frequently too.
Two things before I forget. I thought I wanted to share the story about oral testing. One time, Jennifer and I were in a meeting together, and we brought the student in who has a vision impairment.
Okay.
And no academic difficulty really whatsoever, but the student asks for oral testing and said that it gave his eyes a break. And Jennifer and I were like, oh my gosh, like we've been doing this for how many years and we've never even thought of that.
Yeah.
So that just shows, you know, how much, you know, difference, you know, different individuals need, and I mean the value of
And when they do get to secondary, they do get input on their 504 plan.
And getting the feedback or input from the student, I was like, it was life changing.
Yeah,
I felt like for myself,
I
it was
mean,
such a huge learning opportunity to be like, absolutely, I can see why, you know.
And then it helps us help other students, you know. And then another accommodation I think is important because we've talked about a lot of academic things. Just access to their medical supplies. You know, maybe they are a very intelligent student, high achieving. Maybe they don't go home and have, you know, a hard time to do their homework, but they simply need to take a medication at specific times during the day.
Or check their blood sugar. Or
yes,
whatever.
like it's so important to have that plan in place on a legal document to protect that student. And in the event that maybe that student is going off campus for extracurricular or field trip, you know, that teacher needs to know, hey, we've got to check that. We've got to, you know. So I think that's a big one that a lot of parents don't think my child needs a 504 plan. As long as they take their medicine, they're fine. They're top of their class. But that, you know, affects their life, really. So
One like way that I've seen parents respond positively to 504 when we have these conversations is exactly like what you're talking about, describing it as a protection for the student. And that's really the heart, I think, behind where Section 504 comes from, is a recognition that there are students that carry diagnosis or disabilities that are impacted. They don't need the specially designed instruction, but they need a level of protection through those accommodations. And so, I mean, I'm grateful for it. You know, like I've seen it help students in so many different ways. So I'm grateful for 504.
Yeah, I definitely agree, especially as a parent.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break and get to learn our guests here. We're going to ask them 5, you know, I call them rapid fire, quick fire questions, kind of get to know their personality. You guys ready?
yes.
Okay, first question, it's always the same. What's one random object in your office or classroom that has a story behind it?
Okay, I have a pencil. It's not a real pencil. It's a wooden pencil, like a, I don't know, sign, I guess. But one of my kiddos made it for me. They painted it and everything. So,
Like
I taught second grade. No, I taught second grade. A
Okay.
student, one of my second graders, my very first year ever, painted it for me, and it says Mrs. Wilson on it. And I have just kept it, even though I'm not a teacher anymore. Every single year I've moved offices, moved campuses, moved whatever. That pencil goes with me, and it's just a reminder for me every time I see it of like my beginnings and where I came from.
I love that. Love that.
So I have used an empty McDonald's coffee cup that I carry from office to office. So I had a student when I was teaching a remedial math in the classroom at the middle school who was mute. He didn't speak at all. And so that obviously presented challenges to me as his teacher, you know. But, you know, we made the best of it and did what we could through written communication. And so anyway, years later, I was going through McDonald's one morning before school, and I ordered a coffee. And then when I got to in the window, that student was an adult working there and stuck his hand out to hand me the coffee and said, "Coffee?"
Oh my! I have goosebumps.
Yeah, me too. Did you like cry in the drive-thru?
I was like, yes, I would love my coffee. Thank you. And I'm sure, I don't even know if you remembered me, but I'm like, I'm going to keep this coffee cup forever.
I do love that. That's so great.
Yeah.
That is a neat story.
I
I mean,
Yeah.
it looks, if you go to my office and you see my bookshelf, it looks like it's messy because it's trash.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not, it's a treasure to me.
that's right.
That is
Yeah.
a treasure.
That
That's
is
such a neat story
That
to
is neat.
get to
That
have
is
with
neat.
education.
What about you, Jennifer?
Well, I have a hand-painted cross that my nephew and I painted. I was his confirmation sponsor, and that was
Aw.
one of the activities he and I did. And we had so much fun that day just painting and visiting. And so he was basically one of the first babies that I was ever around. He was around before I had my own children. And so it just taught me to slow down and enjoy our kids, even all of our students, and get to know them and build those relationships. So it's something that I cherish, and I just keep in my office because, one, I'm so proud of my nephew, but also it just brings me back to that moment of how much fun we had just having that one-on-one time and getting to spend time together. And so when we have the opportunity to visit with our students and really get to know them and build those relationships, to me, those are the best moments in education.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so when you go to Sonic or Starbucks, what's your order? You can do both if you want, or either.
I'm a half sweet, half unsweet tea
Okay,
at Sonic.
okay.
That's my drink.
Okay, awesome. What about you, Ashley?
So Sonic is Dr. Pepper with cherry, but I have to give a shout out to Soda Go because they offer a Dr. Pepper Zero, which is actually my preference.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
I still haven't been to Soda Go. I need to go.
Yeah.
At Sonic, I love Cherry Coke Zero.
Yep.
Can't
okay.
go wrong.
Awesome. I like Diet Dr. Pepper with strawberries and vanilla. It sounds really gross, but
It
actually
sounds good.
it's really good, and
So
I think I might get one today.
Does Sonic have Cherry Coke Zero?
No, I just have
Coke Zero with cherry.
Coke Zero with
So they
cherry.
have Coke Zero, but
Yes.
they don't have Dr. Pepper Zero.
Yeah.
I've
we can talk
never
about that.
looked or had to order.
Let's have a talk.
Well,
Maybe they'll
Melissa,
listen.
if you hear this.
Maybe they'll hear this.
Okay, what books are you reading right now? That's my next question.
I am always reading a mystery, usually. That's my go-to. Right now I'm reading a mystery that happens at a summer camp in 1965,
Oh, that's
75.
cool.
I can't remember, 65 or 75. I don't know. It jumps around, but it's really good. I'm liking it so far.
Awesome. What about you?
So I don't really read for pleasure. I just am. If I have time to read, it's going to be the Bible or like some kind of informational to help my career or
Parenting or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Self-help book.
So I mean, I know that sounds really boring, but
Yes, it's
that's
practical.
me. I'm a math brain, not
Yeah,
really.
yeah. Yeah.
I love to read. I'll definitely pick up reading during the summertime. Over spring break, I read Till Summer Do Us Part. I just like to read lighthearted, realistic fiction where everything is going to work out. I don't want to read anything
Can't have
that's
too much
going
stress.
to cause stress
Yes, me
or
neither.
heartache, but I definitely love doing that. That's just one of my summertime hobbies.
Okay.
Now, I will say, when I say I'm reading, I'm actually listening to an audiobook.
Ah.
Because at this stage in my life with 2 little kids, my, quote, reading time is on my headphones as I'm doing the dishes and folding clothes after they've gone to bed. So
Yeah.
I don't get much actual reading.
I remember
I've
those
tried that. I'm
years.
just not an auditory learner, so I couldn't.
Well, the
do
book
it.
has to be interesting. I've read several dull ones, and I get a
Oh,
couple chapters
distracted.
in, I'm like, next.
Yeah. Actually, I feel that though. And this year, my goal for the year is like, when you do New Year's
Mhm.
resolution is reading. So I'm trying to do 1 book a month. I'm on pace.
Good
I've
job.
read 4 books already this year.
Yay!
Yay! Okay, so the next question is, what is your favorite motivational quote?
Something that I tell my kids a lot, it's actually one of our big lessons that we do, but so it's not really like a great quote, but I have little kids, so they can't really understand all those words anyways.
Yes.
We talk about the power of yet, and we talk
Ah,
about
that's
adding
cool.
yet onto the end of our sentence whenever we're thinking something negative, like I can't do this, I'm not good enough, or whatever that is, XYZ, we add on the word yet. And so that's something that we talk about too. Like I can't right now, or I can't yet, but I will one day. That's something that we say a lot. So
I love that.
Yeah.
It's that growth mindset.
yes, trying to teach them young.
Yeah, it's good. Ashley?
It's really simple, but just be your best. that doesn't mean be the best, but
Oh,
whatever
your
your
best.
best is.
Oh, I love that. I mean, I know that sounds so whatever,
Simple, yeah.
but really has a lot to it.
That's, if you could just do that, that's all that I expect.
Yes.
I don't know if this is motivational, but I love be still and know, and so that way
Yes.
I just know how to calm down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I love that. But mine was always, they'll never know how much you know. They'll never care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yes.
That's a good one.
And people say that all the time, but it really is true in teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Students are not people really are never going to
Absolutely.
care about how much you know or you want to teach them until you first show them that you care about them as people.
And along those lines, not a quote for students, but something that we talk to our teachers a lot about is that all behavior is communication. That's important for us to remember at all levels, but especially our little kids,
Yes.
that don't even have all the words yet to maybe express what they're feeling. But that's something that we say at our school too, is that behavior is communication. So when a student is having a behavior, what are they trying to tell me?
And I'm not saying any kids are like animals, but I feel like I'm going through this stage right now because we just got a puppy and she is a biter. So I'm always like, what is she trying to tell me?
She needs something.
Playing. I'm like, I don't know. Like I literally feel that,
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So my last question: what are your hobbies outside of what you do at school?
Wrangling little kids.
Yes.
That's my life right now. But we love to play outside. That's pretty much when we get home. My whole family.
Aren't you building a backyard?
We are building a treehouse right
Treehouse.
now. Yes, it's almost done. We're so excited about it. But my family's pretty much always outside. We like to garden, jump on the trampoline, swing, do all the things. And then when we're not doing that, we're super involved in our church, singing, playing instruments,
Serving on all the committees.
Serving on all the committees. Yep.
Yeah. Kayla and I go to church together. That's
Yeah.
how I know that. All right, Ashley, what you got?
I spend lots of time at photography.
Yes,
That's a big
Ashley's
one.
so good.
Yes,
I just
you
want to take this some time. We need to appreciate this.
Yes. Ashley
I
Nicholson
do.
photography. I know.
I
I've
do.
used her.
I need y'all to appreciate Ashley and her photography. She has come in clutch several times for me. It is no secret that it's a little part of my job here that I do, and it's not my best quality. I'm just not as detail oriented in that respect as I would like to be. But so Ashley has been like, hey, I got you some good pictures at this event. I'm like, oh, you're the best. Thank you so much. So I just really want to acknowledge that, Ashley. And whenever I see you up there taking pictures, I'm like, oh, good. If this doesn't work out, I got Ashley. Probably needs to be my first go-to. I have tried. I do try. I get the effort is there. I just don't have the professional eye for things and the attention to detail like you do. But so thanks, Ashley.
Well, I appreciate that. I love photography. That's a big one. Jennifer got me walking. I love to walk in the evenings. That's my me time. I love to work in the yard and love to travel.
Okay, awesome. Jen?
All right, one of my favorite daily activities is to go walking.
Yes.
I absolutely love it. I've been doing it for years and spending time with my family, especially going to the beach every summer.
Yeah, and I want y'all to know that Jennifer has some talent.
Oh, yes, I saw this.
Okay, I should have said this
Oh,
earlier.
David showed it to me.
Jennifer won the talent show at school for the faculty and staff.
I said, look at her
is a
twirling that
twirler.
baton in her backyard.
And she twirled with fire.
I sure did. And let me
What?
tell
I
you
didn't
guys,
see the fire.
Yeah, that's
It
how
was
she
out
won.
of
It was
my
her
comfort
championship
zone.
I did
round.
not see the fire.
She twirled to This Girl Is on Fire.
well, I had to. I mean,
Of
that would
course
be the
you
It was
did.
in her backyard and all her family came to watch. It was so awesome.
My husband surprised me with tiki torches, and he had them lit all throughout the yard.
And they were all cheering her on. It was the best. It was so great.
That's definitely better than David's dancing.
No, David's was really funny. That
I
was
loved it.
literally hilarious.
Well,
He's gone viral in LSD first.
I just want to say, guys, on any campus, I do think we should have a staff talent show
Yes.
because it brought so
Yes.
much joy to
you know your
the
photography
municipal.
would like
Oh,
win.
you would just submit photos.
Yeah, you
Was that my
Yes.
video of me like taking a picture?
No,
Yeah, your photo.
They had artists that like were very talented and
cool.
stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, it was all across the board. Singers,
Yes.
David doing some dancing,
Well,
Bollywood style. I mean,
Speaking a different language.
speaking languages.
I'm just saying at 45, twirling doesn't come as easy as it did in high school. And some of the things I would try to do, I no longer can.
Okay.
But I gave it a good effort.
Well, it was really impressive though. You did. You still
Yes.
did some good
Yeah.
tosses, and you
Thank
caught
you.
it.
You made
I
it look
practiced.
easy.
Are you sore?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
It was a good workout. I told my husband, I was like, I should start doing this again.
Oh man. Okay, well, we only have a few more questions because we've already talked about several of these, but to jump back into our topic here, we talked about how 504 plans differ from special education services, but let's talk. This is one thing that I think is so cool. We talked a little bit about this. You touched on this earlier, Ashley, about how 504 accommodations can transfer into college, whereas special education IEPs do not.
Correct.
And so we talked about how sometimes those can transition into college if you have extra time, or you have there's certain accommodations on testing that you can use on your SAT or ACT.
Yes.
It requires some paperwork.
Yes.
But that's something to talk to the high school counselors and the high school 504 coordinator about. But what is this opportunity that the Texas Workforce Commission offers in Texas?
So Texas Workforce has a vocational rehabilitation,
Okay.
and the goal is to help individuals with disabilities join the workforce,
Okay.
and not, eventually be collecting disability and not working. So
yeah.
we want everyone to work, and that's good for everyone. So
Productive.
yes, so they provide, starting at age 16, they provide counseling to the students, helping them choose a major, helping them get into the workforce. Once they're in a job, they help them with advocacy and training. And so for some individuals, they can be eligible for tuition assistance if there are funds available. And so the goal of that obviously is ultimately employment. So any kind of training that a student would need after graduation, whether it's a tech school, a full university, cosmetology, or just taking some courses.
Culinary. I don't
Yes.
know.
And they help provide the tools you need to be a successful, independent adult.
Mm-hmm.
So it can even be through like application processes or training how to interview for interviews and being prepared. So there's such a wide variety of supports that they can provide. So it's a really cool opportunity for students just to reach out to the Texas workforce.
Okay. That's awesome. And on that note, I also know just from being in our meetings at the secondary level, a lot of times you might find that as students get older into high school, they might be becoming more independent on some of their special education accommodations, and then they may then qualify for to switch over into 504, and that will help them when they go to the next level of education.
Yes.
So that also might be something that your diagnostician or our facilitator at the high school may discuss with parents as well. Those are good questions to ask. They're really good at doing that here at the high school. I know they have those meetings all the time. But just wanted to put that out there for parents as well, especially for high school. So check out Texas Workforce Commission and the programs that they have there to help with helping your students in high school and then after high school as well. Well, I think we covered most of the other things, but one thing that was a huge, theme here is each 504 plan is individualized. It is case by case. There's not one size fits all. So if you have questions about that, reach out to your child's teacher. It's a pretty good place to start. And then they can reach out to our 504 coordinators. If you want to know who those 504 coordinators are, again, it's on our website. If you just click on each school and then the team, it should label that there for you. Or you can call the school and get information on that. And then also, we want to make sure that everybody understands that this is a very much of a collaborative process, fluid. It's changing, it can change. And So really making sure that all stakeholders, like you talked about, Jennifer, have input is key for helping our students be successful. And I just wanted to say thank you for giving your time today, because I know right now is still, even it's at the end of the school year, it's busy.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting ready for wrapping up annual meetings, and you're starting to schedule meetings for next year, and helping kids enter 504 programs, even in middle school and high school. So initial 504 meetings are always happening. So thank you for what y'all do, for all the plates that you're spinning. And it doesn't go unnoticed, and y'all are super valuable. So thank y'all.
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you.
Yep. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of Raider Reach, and we hope that you enjoyed hearing their stories and the rest of the stories that make our district and community so special. Remember, it's all about making that impact in the classrooms, our lives, and the world. And you can find us on all podcast platforms, so be sure to subscribe, share this episode with others in our communities, and join us next time as we continue to reach out and share more Raider stories. Until then, let's stay connected, let's stay inspired, and let's just keep making an impact. Bye!
Bye.